Hi everyone, welcome to Must Read Monday. My name is Dabney. I'm the Young Adult Librarian at the Twin Lakes Library System and I use they, them pronouns. For today's episode, we're going to be talking about 3 new books from our November cart. And these are ones that I have recently read or am in the process of reading. So first up, we have the highly anticipated How the King of Elfham Learned to Hate Stories by Holly Black. So this is a series of short stories from the point of view of Cardan. So if you have not read Holly Black's The Folk of the Air series, you might want to wait to read this until after you've read that book series, because otherwise these stories aren't going to really make much sense to you, because some of them are kind of set before that series begins, some of them are set during that series, and then some are set after. So it is kind of a prerequisite to read those books first, but personally, they're some of my absolute favorites. I'm a huge Holly Black fan. Can't say enough about her. So if you haven't read that series, it's 3 books. It's The Cruel Prince, The Wicked King, and The Queen of Nothing. And those books are all told from the point of view of Jude, who is a human girl who is taken to the Fey lands and grows up around the Fey, including Cardan, who is a prince of the High King, and they have, they're kind of like enemies basically at the beginning, and there's a lot of mutual hate between them that gradually changes over time. So a lot of people really love Cardan, so I'm one of those people. I really love his character, and this is just giving more insight into him, which is great, and kind of getting more of his backstory and his perspective. And one thing I really like about these stories is they all intertwine. So there is a common, I guess, story running within these stories, and I just think that's really cool, the way that Holly Black did that and the way everything ties together. And yeah, I can't really say too much because of spoilers, but it's just really amazing and really beautiful. And speaking of beautiful, the illustrations within this are fantastic. Here you have Cardan reading a book. And one thing I love about Cardan is he has a tail, which he hides the majority of the time, but I'm always like, I don't know, he's a fae, so he has a tail. So this is him as I think he's 8 or 9 or something in this story. So yeah, the illustrations are great, the stories are great. They're just really wonderful. So yeah, I highly recommend this. If you read the Folk of the Air books, then I definitely think this is a must read. And if you're a fan of fantasy and fae, then definitely check out the whole series and Holly Black's books. You will not be disappointed. They are wonderful. Okay, and then next up we have a standalone book, so you can come to this with no prior reading homework required, and that is Here the Whole Time by Victor Martin. So I just read this one. I'm filming this on Sunday. I just read this today on Sunday. It was a really quick read. Kind of like The King of Elfham was a quick read. This one was too. It's less than 300 pages, and interesting fact about this book is the author lives in Brazil, is Brazilian, and this book is set in Brazil, and then it was translated into English and published here as well. So that's really great. I love reading authors from around the world. And it's really great to read like YA books that are published in other countries and to kind of get that perspective. So this book, it was so good. It was pretty fluffy and light and kind of like what I needed. So the main character is Philippe, and so some facts about Philippe. He is fat and he has been bullied a lot at school. So basically, like, he doesn't have any friends at school. He's a high school student, I'll say that. I think he's 17 years old. So yeah, he doesn't really have any friends. He gets bullied a lot, and his winter break is coming up. So 22 days that he doesn't have to go to school. He's so excited. He's just gonna stay inside, hang out in his room, and like watch Netflix and YouTube and stuff. And like, that's what he's all jazzed about. But he comes home from school, is ready to jump into his winter break, and his mom's like, hey, by the way, your neighbor Kaio from like apartment 57, he's gonna be staying with us for 15 days while his parents are on vacation. And of course Philippe is like, what? He's super shy, super anxious, has a very, very hard time talking to people. And all of a sudden, he's finding out that his neighbor is going to be sleeping in his room in the pull-out mattress, like right next to his bed. And he is like really overwhelmed, doesn't really know how to process this. It's a lot. And then immediately after, Kaio shows up, and Philippe is just like, no. And a little bit about them is they've lived in this same apartment building pretty much maybe their entire lives. So they've kind of grown up together. They were really good friends as children, and then they stopped kind of hanging out around like age 13. And so that's awkward. Like, you've got somebody you used to be very close with, and now you don't even speak with them, and suddenly they're gonna be sleeping in your room for 15 days. I personally would freak out if that was me. So I feel like it's really relatable, and it's the story just kind of follows them on winter break, and kind of follows like Philippe learning to open up and to talk to Kaio and to talk to other people about him making friends and standing up to bullies, and just learning to, I guess, kind of like accept who he is. And one of my favorite things about the book is Philippe's relationship with his mom. I really love in YA books where the characters have really good relationships with their parents. So they're kind of like this team. It's them against the world. His mom is an artist, and his dad has never really been in their life ever, and so she supports Philippe, and they're super close. They talk about everything, and she's just very supportive of him. And Philippe was saying, when he came out to his mom as being gay, she immediately, was accepting and loving, and just, even was like, hey, maybe you could see a therapist because there's nothing wrong with you at all, but, it might help for you to have someone else to also talk to, like a professional, not just like telling your mom everything. And that's another great thing about the book is Philippe has an amazing therapist. They have a really great relationship, and she's been able to help him so much. And he mainly talks to her about like the bullying he experiences and his own like anxiety and self-image and things like that. So it's a really good book. It's really important, and um, yeah, it's got a lot about body positivity and talking a lot about how um, so many people are like very judgmental and like fat phobic for people who like, don't fit in what they think is like a normal or a healthy like body type. And so, that Philippe deals with that and, definitely draws that to the reader's attention like, hey, if you see somebody of a certain size and you're like judging them, like, why are you doing that? And also, you should stop. But, anyways, it was great. I highly recommend it. It's a quick read, it's a fun read, it's an empowering read. And yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. 5 stars for me. And then I usually try to talk about books that I read and finished, but I didn't get the new books until like Friday, and I haven't had a lot of time to read them yet, so apologies. I have not finished this one yet. It is Master of One by Jada Jones and Danny Bennett. And I'm pretty sure this is going to be a series. I started reading it today, and I am a little over 100 pages in, so it's got 531 pages. This is a big book. But I'm going to read you the summary inside, and then talk a little bit about like what I've read so far. So, life in the Queen City isn't easy, especially for a 2-bit thief like Rags. When his latest score goes sideways, he's nabbed by royal sorcerer Morian the Last, who forces him to steal the 6 pieces of an immeasurably powerful ancient Fey relic. Rags is still determined to somehow get away unscathed until he discovers that the relics Morian is after are actually people. A distractingly handsome Fey prince who has been asleep for centuries, a Queen's Guard deserter with more honor than common sense, a daughter of a disgraced noble family who hits first and asks questions later, a deceptively sweet-natured prince, a member of the underground resistance, neither trusting nor trustworthy, and him, Rags. There's no way they can let Morian enact his dark plans, but 6 misfits against an exceptionally wicked enemy doesn't make for generous odds. Luckily, Rags is not generous, he's smart, and he has a plan that just might work. Okay. So, this is another fantasy book. I really like fantasy. I really like books about the Fae, in case you can't tell. And I like heist stories. I like stories about thieves, like Six of Crows. I really like them. And the first 100 pages or so, they're told from Rag's point of view, and just from like flipping through the rest of the book, as other characters are introduced, you're going to get their chapters from their points of view. So like as the summary said, Rags is a thief. He's like recruited by the sorcerer Morian to kind of go on this heist, and he is he's kind of recruited in this very underhand fashion, which is that he was on a heist and he, got through everything okay, and at the very end is captured by soldiers and finds out that the heist he was on was actually a setup and kind of like a trial run. And so he's taken to meet Morian and this other like powerful lord, and they're like, hey, so great job, you succeeded in this heist, like up until the end when we captured you, and you're the perfect candidate to go on another heist for us. So he doesn't really have a choice, because like after he was caught, he was put into prison for like 16 days, and they're like, you're gonna do this for us, and he's like, so what do I get out of it? And they're like, well, we're not going to kill you. So yeah, not given a choice. Also, he is implanted with a shard of a mirror in his heart, and so if he tries, oh hey Corbet, if he tries to act against the sorcerer, or if he tries to run away, the shard will basically slice up his heart and kill him. So he's really not in a good situation, but he goes on this heist. And from what I read, the heist portion is very like Tomb Raider, Indiana Jones. He's like put into these old Fey ruins and has to kind of like beat each level. There's different obstacles and booby traps he has to get through to find the treasure that's waiting for him. And I kind of want to tell you what the treasure. Well, I'm just going to tell you because it's kind of in the beginning part, anyways. He's thinking like he's going to end up in a room with like a lot of gold and jewels and all that stuff. No, it's a glass coffin, and he wakes up the slumbering Fae within, who wakes up and is immediately like thinking that Rags is like some very worthy like master or warrior or something, and Rags is like thief actually. So that's kind of where I'm at, and yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. I'm very curious about the rest of the characters and kind of like what they're going to do. So yeah, if that sounds appealing, then check it out. All of these books have not been cataloged yet, but they will be very soon. They will be this week, and they'll be going up on our shelves in the new books section. I'll also have some information on Instagram soon with like a link to the updated Goodreads list for our new books, so you can check them all out, because there's a bunch of manga and graphic novels I'm really excited to get to. I'm trying to think of the ones I brought home. The new Welcome to Ballroom, Noragami, Saint Young Min. There were some other ones. And also the new Mortal Instruments graphic novel. I think this is volume 4, which I'm very excited about. So yeah, I hope you all can come by the library, check out the books. Just a reminder that we still have the young adult grab bag form on our website. So if you ever want me to select books for you, just fill that out and we'll find you some good things to read. But yeah, I will see you all on Wednesday. Bye.